The Last Chain, Africa's Cry for Freedom. Long ago, in the bustling coastal towns of West Africa, the air was thick with the sounds of waves crashing against ships, not merchant ships bringing wealth, but dark vessels of sorrow. Packed with stolen sons and daughters. For over 3 centuries, the transatlantic slave trade bled Africa of its people, its pride, and its peace. But everything has a beginning and an end. It was the early 19th century, and change was brewing. In the kingdom of Bani, in today's Nigeria, King Pepple grew uneasy. He had long been a part of the trade, like many other rulers entangled in European greed and local power plays. But now he saw the damage. Villages emptied, fields overgrown, families shattered. It was no longer business, it was destruction. Across the ocean, in Britain, abolitionists were rising.
We must not falter. The tide of justice is rising in Britain, and we shall be the ones to usher it in. This cruel trade must end.
William Wilberforce, Olaudah Equiano, and others raised their voices. Equiano, a former slave born in Nigeria, published his harrowing memoir, Awakening Hearts Across Europe. In 1807, Britain abolished the slave trade, and their navy began patrolling the Atlantic, intercepting illegal slave ships. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. For many Africans, hope lit a small fire. Back in Africa, voices of resistance rose. Queen Zinga of Angola had resisted for decades before, refusing to let Portuguese colonizers take her people. Now, others followed. In Freetown, Sierra Leone, a haven was built for freed slaves. The streets rang with new life, languages mingled, and drums beat, again not for war or chains, but for celebration. Still, the trade lingered. Illegal slavers snuck through the cracks, bribing local chiefs, threatening dissenters. But Africa was changing. Education, Christian missions, and African-led reform movements spread. Kingdoms like Dahomey, once infamous for their involvement in the trade, faced internal rebellions. By the mid-1800s, slavery itself, not just the trade, was being challenged across the continent. The British, French, and others, partly for moral reasons and partly for empire-building motives, began to pressure African leaders to abandon it. Some signed treaties, others resisted. But the tide was turning. By 1888, even Brazil, the last country in the Americas to hold on, abolished slavery. The chains were falling, one link at a time. But Africa did not emerge unscarred. The scars of that trade ran deep, lost generations, fractured tribes, broken trust. The same Europeans who helped end the trade soon returned as colonizers, carving up the continent in the scramble for Africa. Yet still, the abolition of the transatlantic slave trade remains one of the earliest collective victories, a moment when Africans and allies across the seas stood against centuries of suffering. And though the chains were once iron and visible, today's struggle is remembering and never repeating. Because freedom is not just the absence of chains, it's the presence of dignity.